Welcome to Chapter 2, Lesson 1 on writing equations. So starting off, you're just translating each sentence into an equation. So 7 times a number squared is 5 times the difference of k and m. So 7 times a number squared is 5 times the difference, so it's 5 times whatever k minus m is. Okay, so you need to make sure you're breaking things down. Here, 15 times a number subtracted from 80. So that means this 15n is being taken away from 80. Because if I were to say 4 subtracted from 5, you would do 5 minus 4. And that is 25. Okay, you try these ones and check with me. So 2 plus the quotient of a number and 8. So 2 plus the quotient is dividing a number and 8 is the same as 16. Here, 27 times k is, so 27k is h squared decreased by 9. Boom. Now it wants us to use the 4-step plan to solve. So refer to the information in the blurb. In how many days will 261,000, wow, flights have occurred in the United States? So here it says in 1919, Britain and France offered a flight that carried 2 passengers at a time. Now there are more than 87,000 flights each day in the U.S. So understand, we're looking for how many days 261,000 flights will have occurred. So in order to do this, we know that there are 87,000 flights each day in the United States. So our 87,000 flights in one day, we need to know how many days it will take to get 261,000. Okay, because there's 87,000 per day. For 2 days, you would multiply 87,000 times 2, times 3, and so on. So now we need to solve. So we need DL by itself. So we have this 87,000 hanging out with it. So we need to get rid of it. So it's 87,000 times D, so we're going to divide by 87,000. What you do to one side, you do to the other. Those cancel out, and we have D equals 261,000 divided by 87,000, 3. So it'll take 3 days for 87,000 or 261,000 flights to occur. And we can go back in and check. We can do 3 times 87,000, and we get 261,000. So perfect. I want you to try here and see if you get the answer that you're looking for. So it says that there are 50 members in the North Carolina Senate. This is 70 fewer than the number in the House. How many members are in the North Carolina House of Representatives? So first thing, I'm going to figure out what I need to know. So I know there are 50 in the Senate. This is 70 fewer than the House. How many are in the House? Oh my goodness. So 50 is 70 fewer than the House. So fewer than is going to make it be taking 70 away. Because if I said it's 70 fewer than 100, you do 100 minus 70. If this is 70 fewer than the House, it's going to be the House minus 70. Then to figure out how many are in the House, we need to get H all by itself. So if there's a minus 70 next to it, to turn that out to 0, we're going to add 70. What you do to one side of the equal sign, you do to the other. And that'll get us 120 members are in the House. Come on, there we go. Here we have a vocab word. It's a formula, and that's a rule for a relationship between certain quantities. So for example, sorry, my phone is ringing. If we have the formula for circumference, that's pi times the diameter. Or just the circumference is pi d. Here you can write a formula. So translate each sentence into a formula. The area is what that's supposed to say of a triangle equals the product of half length of the base and the height. So the area equals, we got that, the product, so that means times 1/2 the length of the base and the height. So 1/2 the base times the height. And I don't even need to put a times sign in there because when the letters are just next to each other, that means multiplying. You try. So here it says in a right triangle, the square of the measure of the hypotenuse C is equal to the sum of the squares of the measures of the legs A and B. So in a right triangle doesn't matter to us. The square of the measure of the hypotenuse C. So the square of the measure of the hypotenuse C. So C squared is equal to, so that's just our equal sign, the sum of, so that means we're going to be adding the squares of the measures of the legs A and B. So we'll have A and we'll have B, and it wants the squares of those, so those are both squared. So C squared equals A squared plus B squared. And finally here we need to translate each into a sentence, so we're going the other way. So it says 6z minus 15 equals 45, so I'm going to say 6 times z minus 15 is 45. Okay, here I'm just going to say it out loud and not write because it's really hard for me to write words on this and make it look legible. So if I were to write this out, I would say the sum of y squared and 3 times x is equal to w. Okay, you need to make sure that you're adding the 3 times x and the y squared. So you can try here, write something out, and then listen to what I'm saying. So this one here would be 15 is equal to 25 times some number u squared plus 2. And over here, we've got the difference of 3/2 r and t to the third power is equal to 132.